I'm recording this video the day the game came out, so please keep in mind that a lot of these settings are bound to change when I'm able to go through and test them all in depth. So make sure you guys click the subscribe button to stay up to date with all the settings. And if any of you guys are interested in getting started streaming or recording videos, I am now offering a service where I get in a Discord call with you and we go over all the OBS settings for the best possible quality for your PC. So if you are interested in that, link is in the description. One thing I want to note about these settings is that you should be using 522.25 for your graphics card driver. I noticed with the newest graphics card driver, I was getting a lot of graphical errors when I was testing out some of these settings, so do be aware of that. But starting under the display tab under graphics for display mode, we want to be playing in full screen exclusive, as I always recommend, for the least amount of input lag possible. Double check here that your screen refresh rate is set correctly. You don't want to be playing on 60 hertz when you have a 240 hertz monitor or something. And then also double check that your display resolution is correctly set here. Dynamic resolution, we do want this turned off. If you were to turn this on, the game would automatically be adjusting your resolution to try hitting a target frame rate. And yes, that can help you get more frames because you're trying to target a certain frame rate, but that's going to be at the cost of quality. Your game is going to look absolutely terrible, especially if you have a bad PC. Aspect ratio, we have this set to automatic, and then VSync in both gameplay and the menus, we want this turned off. VSync will help you fix some of those screen tearing issues, but at the cost of a lot of input lag, and in a first-person shooter, any bit of input lag is bad. It's going to affect our aim. Custom frame rate limit here, I have this set to custom. Then we're going to click show more and we're going to drag the gameplay custom frame rate limit all the way up. And then I leave the menu custom frame rate limit at 120 in the menus, so the menus still feel a little bit smooth. Then out of focus custom frame rate limit doesn't really matter, but I have it set to 30. Scrolling down here, we got display camera, which I would recommend leaving at 2.2 if you're playing on a computer monitor. But if you do have your PC plugged into like a nice big screen TV or something, you could try 2.4 and it should look a little better for you. Brightness is pretty self-explanatory. You just want this Call of Duty symbol here to be barely visible, as it says right there in the middle. And then focus mode, we do want this turned off. If you are playing on an ultra wide screen monitor, turning this on could be beneficial for you though. High dynamic range or HDR, we do want this turned off. HDR on gaming monitors is absolutely terrible. I believe there's like 2 OLED monitors out there right now, and if you have one of those 2 monitors, you know about it. And if you do have one of those 2 monitors, you would want to turn it on, but for pretty much everyone else, we want this off. Although again, if you do have your PC plugged into a nice like 4K OLED TV or something, then yes, you would want to use HDR, but for the majority of us using gaming monitors, turn this off. Moving over to the quality tab here, double check that your render resolution is set to 100, and then upscale / sharpening. This is the one thing that I really went in and tested just in custom games for now, and I found that using Fidelity FX cast actually looked the best. And then I set the cast strength to 75. This, in my opinion, out of all these different settings, gave the best clarity, although you could use AMD FSR if you are lacking the frame rate you're looking for. Like if you want more frames, you could use AMD FSR and then set it to the very quality option, and I noticed that gave me about 20 to 30 more frames, but the visibility is not worth the trade-off in my opinion. But if you absolutely need those frames, like if you're at 30 FPS or something crazy, then definitely try that. Some of you might be wondering, well, why not just use DLSS if you want to make up for those frames? And well, DLSS does look a little better than AMD FSR in my opinion, but the gain in frame rates isn't quite as good. But either way, if you're getting a good amount of FPS that you're happy with, you should be using Fidelity FX cast. Your visibility is just going to be amazing. The game looks so clear and amazing with it on. And then like I said, with the strength, I do have it at 75, but if you do want your game to look a little sharper, you could turn it up. You could turn it all the way up to 100 if you want. And if the game looks a little too sharp, you know, maybe turn it a little bit down, but I personally felt it looked the best at 75. Anti-aliasing here, we want this set to SMAA T2X, and then I have the anti-aliasing quality set to low. Keep in mind that setting this setting too low will give you a lot of jagged and like shimmering edges, so if that is something you really don't like, you could put this up to normal, although I would recommend against doing that because anti-aliasing quality is going to be one of the biggest hogs to performance and you're going to lose a lot of FPS by doing so. Video Video memory scale, for now, I have this set at default, which for me was 85. Now, if you are having some issues where the game is stuttering a lot, you could try bumping this down a little bit. Texture resolution, I have this set to normal, as well as texture filter anisotropic. Now, for some of you guys with an older graphics card, you might want to put this down to low or very low if you are experiencing stutters or you're just not getting the frame rates you are looking for. But for the majority of us, normal for both of these settings should work fine. Nearby level of detail and distance level of detail, I have both of these set to low, and then clutter draw distance, I have this set to long. Particle quality, we want this set to high, and then particle quality level, we want this set to very low. Bullet impacts and sprays, I have turned on. Shader quality, we have this set to low. Tessellation, we have turned off, and terrain memory, we have set to max, and then on-demand texture streaming, we have this turned off. Otherwise, the game will be downloading textures in the background while you're gaming, which could cause lag, and we don't want that. Streaming quality, we have this set to normal. Volumetric quality, we have this set to low. Deferred physics quality, I have this turned off, as well as water caustics. And these are two settings I haven't really been able to test yet, so just keep that in mind. And then shadow map resolution, I do have this on very low. Shadows are a big performance hog, so keep that in mind, because I know a lot of people really don't like the look of shadows being on very low, and that's understandable, and you could bump it up to low or normal if that is you, but just keep in mind you will be losing a good amount of FPS by doing so. And then screen space shadows, we have this set to off. Spot shadow quality, we have this to low. Spot cache, we have set to low. Particle lighting, we have set to low, and then ambient occlusion, we have turned off. Screen space reflections, we have set to off. Static reflection quality, we have set to low. And then weather grid volumes is another one I haven't really been able to test, and I'm going to have to figure out how to do so, but for now I do have it set to low. Scrolling down, we want NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency set to on. And then all these options under that, we want off or film grain turned all the way down. Motion blur, depth of field, all of that is just going to hurt your visibility, and it is not worth it at all. Moving over to the view tab. Now, field of view is generally personal preference. I would recommend maxing it all the way out though, as you can see more around you and you can just be more aware of your surroundings in general. And then ADS field of view, I would put this on affected. This is going to help with your recoil control just immensely compared to if you put it on independent, so I highly recommend putting it on affected. Now, weapon field of view, I do have set default here, and I really want to test these settings more in depth. I do feel like wide might end up being the better option, as I believe it'll make your crosshairs bigger, which will make it easier to see when you're aiming down the sight. So that is something we'll test more in depth in the future, so do make sure you subscribe so you can see that video when it does come out eventually. Third person field of view, we have set to 90. Vehicle field of view, I have set to default. And then these here are very important. The first person and third person camera movement, we want these set all the way down to least. Otherwise, the camera is going to be shaking all over the place when there's grenades exploding and airstrikes and all that going off, which is like 90% of the match. And then third person ADS transition seems like a personal preference kind of setting if you want to play the third person mode. I haven't gotten a chance to mess with this yet. And then default spectator camera, we want this set to game perspective. It is helmet camera by default. And if you like playing search and destroy, you know that helmet camera for the spectator camera looks absolutely atrocious. Going over to the interface tab over here, there's a couple things I want to mention. First one being the telemetry. So that is where you will see all your FPS and your latency and all that. So what you want to do is set this to custom and then click show more, and you can turn on all the different options that you want to see in the top left of your screen. And then down here, we got skip introduction movie, which I would recommend turning that on so you don't have to see that stupid introduction movie every time you open the game. And then another setting I found here is center dot, which I want to try out. And what it does is it adds a dot that is always in the center of your screen. And I feel like this could end up helping with centering a lot, especially for newer players. So I'd recommend experimenting with that and see how it works for you. And then audio settings are something that are going to have to be tested real in depth to find out what exactly is the best setting. But for now, I just have it set to headphones because I'm using headphones. And then just make sure the music volume is turned all the way down so you don't have music in your ears when you're trying to listen for footsteps or whatnot. And then I have dialogue volume set to 50% so you don't hear the announcers in the game over like footstep audio and everything like that. But like I said, we'll have to go through and test all these different audio settings more in depth for you guys. So again, make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss those videos. And I'm thinking about playing controller a lot more this year, so there probably will be a video on the best controller settings here soon as well. So again, make sure you click the subscribe button. But thank you so much for watching. If this video did help you out, make sure you drop a like. And like I said earlier in the video, I am offering a service now where you can hop in Discord with me and I will help you set up your OBS for the best possible recording and streaming settings for your PC. So if that sounds interesting to you, link is in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Here's the web. Peace.